Hello! This week we are going to make a D&D crown. Why? I don't have an answer for that, I'll be honest. I just wanted something that was relatively simple to make that's not knitting, because it has been super hot recently and it makes me not want to touch anything warm. This is absolutely inspired by watching a few too many crown haul TikToks, and I thought that I could take some of the dice charms that I have and somehow suspend them and make a cool little crown thing. So I've collected up some various bits and pieces. I've got mini dice, I've got beads, I've got quartz crystals, pearls or fake pearls. I have the little stamens that go into things. I've got ribbon, I've got different wire. I've also got lace and the brass coating paint, which I used in the Halloween videos for the frames. But I thought maybe even painting some lace could be interesting as sort of filler in between things and then layering stuff over the top of it. I don't entirely have a plan. I've put together a few little mood boards to kind of guide me in what I want to do. So let's just jump on in. To begin, I think I'm just gonna have a little bit of a play around. I have sort of vague ideas of what I want from what I put together. I've got scrap paper here that I'm going to just sketch out, I think, a rough idea of what I actually want to do, referencing the mood boards, which I'm sure I will put on screen so that you can actually see what I'm working from. There are some materials that I know I want to work with, like the copper wire, because there is a lot of it, and I think that that will actually form a nice base. I also have this with these little flowers on it, and I thought that that's kind of cool and could add some interest to the piece. I've also got some teardrop beads, which I've previously used on a shawl, but I like the idea of these like cathedral sort of arch things and then that hanging down in the middle of it, but I'm not entirely sure. And I've seen a few different ways you can kind of decorate the point, one of which was sort of these in like a little splayed out thing. I also looked up this morning Eowyn's crown, and someone had done a really beautiful wire variant, and I was like, that could make a nice kind of base if I have enough to twist two strands of this and then sort of intertwine them together, because I think that that's a little bit more interesting. Despite the fact that I'm using wire, I'm always just a little bit hesitant about how it looks. It can look very meh in my eyes, but other times it looks absolutely beautiful and incredible. So I think we'll be playing a fine line, but I do have some interesting pieces to work with, so hopefully it's all good. So let's just start sketching.
I did end up going with the cathedral-inspired arches and used an existing crown to map out the rough size for the base of the crown. I then twisted two long pieces of wire together. This took a while, and I had to use pliers to hold one side while twisting the two pieces with my other hand. I then took two pieces of plain wire and looped them around the twisted wires. With the base fitted to my head, I made 5 arches and used my round pliers to make loops at the top of each one. I made little jump rings and draped the brass flower chain on the inside of each arch, connecting it at the 3 points of the arch, the 2 lower points, and then through the loop with a jump ring. I looped the chain around the center loop instead of through it to create a gap in the chain's drape for the dice to sit. When I got to the end of the final arch, I just cut the excess chain off at the connected ring. I wanted the dice to stand out more, so I suspended it from a length of copper wire instead of just the little jump ring I originally made. To further bedazzle the crown, I used hot glue to attach large rhinestones to the 3 center arches and slightly smaller ones to the outer 2. I followed my original plan for the center arch and attached the 3 teardrop beads in the fan pattern. To make sure I was happy with the black, I tested out other colors of dye, eventually going with the black.
The crown is complete. I'm actually pretty happy with how this turned out, especially styling it with other things. It definitely looks like a wire crown. I think it was very ambitious of me to think I could make it not look like a wire crown with only wire really to work with, which was, you know, just a silly thing on my behalf. I might go in and change the color of the dice. I kind of like it with the black because I wear a lot of black, but it could be nice to have something specifically made for the crown. I forgot just how rough it is to work with wire. It hurts so much on your fingers. It was so difficult twisting the 2 pieces of wire together to create that base piece. And that was when I realized I do not have a lot of wire if I just want to use the copper wire, and I wasn't game enough to combine the copper with the silver, although I'm sure it could look really cool. I just was slightly overwhelmed with the amount of colors I had anyway, and I like to go tonal when I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed. I also knew that I was going to be adding the brass from the chain anyway, and I'm happy with how that turned out. I like that I did manage to do the cathedral shaping, and it has enough ornateness, sort of cheated by using the already decorated chain. It's actually pretty dang comfortable to wear, which is nice. I like that I can kind of bend it, so I bent it out a little bit when I put it on, and that just sort of made it flare out and sort of sit nicely, adding a little less vertical height, like straight vertical height, and giving it a little bit more of a softened flare. That is it for this project. If you like this video, you can feel free to check out my other videos. And if you really like this video, you can feel free to subscribe. I have also launched a Patreon, which has public posts that have a ton of free patterns similarly inspired by D&D and fantasy things, as well as tiers where you can access behind-the-scenes content, little tutorials, and a ton of other goodies, including all of my paid patterns. You can check out the link to that in the description. I hope you have a lovely week, and I will see you soon. Bye!